I'd really like just to give you the opportunity to share your story and tell us what happened on that day.
As I was coming into land, I saw the dirt roads. I was like, okay, turn, street, set up. And at the last minute, I saw the power line.
And so when after the ambulance had picked you up, you were in ICU for 413 days.
Like, it was a blur. The medicine that they give you is so intense.
Was there almost like a turning point in hospital where you thought, okay, I'm seeing progress, like things are gonna get better?
My BP was like 190, and I was just like I honestly thought like I'm gonna die.
Hello and welcome to Coffee Charge Conversations here at Real Global Productions. Today we are joined by a very special guest, Kelvin van Baalen. And on the 29th of June 2018, Kelvin's whole life turned around. Up until that point, he had been a paraglider. He had been doing paragliding for 5 years and had been a part of over 800 flights. Kelvin, welcome to Coffee Charge Conversations.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's good to be here. Been a while since I've seen you. I think we should let everyone know we went to school together. And yeah, thanks.
So, I mentioned that day, the 29th of June 2018. I feel like it's not really my place to tell your story. I've listened to a few interviews with you before, and I'd really like just to give you the opportunity to share your story and tell us what happened on that day.
So let's go way back. So my father, that's how I got into paragliding. At the age of 2, I was spending my weekends on top of Hartbeespoort Dam with my Batman cap, watching all the paragliders take off. And 6, 7 years old, we started going to competitions. And I remember, like, I think you pick up a lot on it. And I mean, I remember laying out the guys' gliders, and I would charge them like $2. So I go to the competition every day, make like $100, come back with 700 rand, buy 2 PS2 games. So that was me. I mean, and then you can start flying when you're 14, but I don't think my father ever wanted me to fly that young. So I started when I was 16, and then got my license, and I instantly, like, it just became an obsession. I mean, in high school, everyone was going out, going clubbing, going here, going there. And I'd get back on a Monday sunburnt and have to listen to everyone who went to Madison's and snuck in somewhere. And I was in Rustenburg flying for 5 hours to some spot. So it very, very quickly took over my life. I used to bunk school, go fly. And yeah, it was an obsession. I had about 800 to 1,000 flights. I had a couple of records, distance, stuff like that in South Africa. I think I was the youngest person to do 300 kilometers. So, yeah, I was that day, 29th of June. We were at Barberton. I'd flown like many comps there. It was just another day. It was fine. It wasn't unsafe to fly. And I took off. We started the task, thermaled up, everything was normal. And I was maybe racing a little bit too hard in terms of like not being patient enough, trying to like get in front, always looking for a better thermal. So with paragliding, you get a thermal, and that's what takes you up. So that thermal can vary. So I can go up like 1 meter per second, but if I get a better thermal, I'm going to go up faster. So you're always trying to find better. So if I tried to find maybe better thermal, and I didn't get a thermal, and I came into land. And actually, about 3 years before the accident, I landed in a very similar spot, but I landed in the bushes. Not in trees, but bushes, and then it's crap. You got to take your lines out, and I sat there for like 3 hours picking my glider. So I thought, no, I'm not going to land in the bushes. I'm going to land on the road.
Yeah.
So as I was coming into land, I saw the dirt roads. I was like, okay, turn, street, set up. And at the last minute, I saw the power line. So it wasn't a pylon, it was literally two poles, well, obviously a lot of poles, but then the power line. And I saw it at the last minute, and I tried to turn, obviously, because that's like the one thing that you taught is do not land in a power line. Rather flip and hit the ground, do anything, but don't hit the power line. And I tried to turn, but I was too late. And that's why I turned and I hit the power line with my hip. So that's the doctors told me that obviously like that's why the current went into my hip and then out through my calf muscle. So one of the things that I do struggle with the most is this left leg. It's like very compromised. But yeah, then I remember in the moment everything. So I hit the power line. I remember like literally my whole body like shaking like this and then blacking out. And I don't know about you, but I've never blacked out except for that time. Have you ever like passed out or fainted or something?
I mean, if I'm honest, I've blacked out from a night out, but I don't think I've ever passed out.
I think it's a bit different. Like, I don't know, like in a video game, you know, when the whole screen like blacks out or you're getting shot and then you die. That's honestly how it was my experience. And then the next thing I woke up and I was on the ground, literally in my harness like this, and everything was burnt off me or into me. And I remember looking down and I was actually still on fire. Like I had little flames, not like huge flames, but little flames like on my skin. And I said to myself, like, if I don't do something, like I'm going to die right here in this field. And I remember having to like undo my leg strap still and everything to get out of the harness. And then I rolled away to put the fire out. It was like, you know, you don't know any of this, but in the moment you're like instinct,
Yeah.
those survival skills. Like if you had to run 40 k's an hour to outrun a cheetah or something, like you would be able to do it in the moment. So I rolled away, put the fire out, and then I remember lying there and like I was still like this, and it actually wasn't that painful, despite being completely roasted from here all the way down. And I later found out that that's because like it burned through all my nerves.
Wow.
So I was like, geez, must be painful, but like it wasn't that painful.
So did you feel like you were panicking at that point?
I think no, I was actually very like compass mentis. There was a fire behind me. I was worried that the fire was gonna spread and like I couldn't run, so like that would be a problem. I was thinking and like, okay, where's the wind coming from? Then there was a riverbed there, like should I roll there? But then the chances of someone finding me is less. Like I didn't know that they had seen me, called the paramedics to come to me. So I definitely didn't like panic. And then eventually I sort of just had to wait and I couldn't move. I didn't have any like communication and I waited. And then after maybe 15 minutes, the paramedics arrived and my dad was actually on the scene. So, because he was also paragliding. So he landed near me and he got there and I think he was just super shocked. And I also had my orthopedic surgeon there because he also paraglided.
Yeah.
So he was also on the scene. So I had a pretty good like support team there, at least on the scene. He knew what to do. And then they loaded me up. I remember my dad was like holding this side of the stretcher and he actually dropped me on my head while I think he was just in shock. But it's a pretty funny story. Like I still give him a bit of shit about it today, like, you know, dropping me. And then then they loaded me up in the ambulance. And then I can remember like 10 seconds in that ambulance. And then literally the next year and a half of my whole life is a blur.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why is it important for you to share your story?
I think it gives people hope. I don't necessarily think the story, not anyone, but you can survive a traumatic accident, but it's how you recover after that. You know, do your rehab, how you get stronger, your outlook on life. Are you going to crawl into a hole and give up, or are you going to, you know, do stuff and just live your life? I mean,
it's all about your attitude at the end of the day.
Yeah. Like I said to you, we're gonna go play golf in 2 hours. I play golf in shorts. If I had to hide my body and my scars for the rest of my life, like it's just, yeah, not worth it. I remember about 3 or 4 months coming out of rehab and everything, we go on holiday to Sabi River Sun in Hazyview. I don't know if you've been.
Yeah, I love Sabi, yeah.
Yeah, and it gets flipping hot there. And I remember I was like, I want to swim. So I was in a wheelchair, and they pushed me to the end of the pool, and then my brother and my mom's boyfriend, and they load me up, and they like dunked me in the pool, and I like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you can't live your whole life worrying what other people are gonna say and everything.
And so when after the ambulance had picked you up, you were in ICU for 413 days.
Yeah,
And I'm sure there was a point where you looked down at yourself and saw the severity of your injuries. And like how was that moment for you?
you know, like the whole 413 days, I like it was a blur. The medicine that they give you is so intense. I thought my brother was my child. I couldn't remember my birthday. Honestly, like I knew what had happened to me, but that sort of thought never crossed my mind. And maybe that was a good thing. I didn't lie there thinking, oh, like I'm so stuffed. Look at my body. I'm never going to walk again. Dude, I was honestly there and like, I'm gonna paraglide again one day. Like, oh, this is fine. I'm gonna be walking. Like, oh, I'll be here for a while. Like, I didn't think 413 days. Actually, when I had my accident, I was lying there in the field watching my paraglider burn, and I was like, okay, shit. I'm gonna be in hospital for 2 weeks, and then I got to source another paraglider. That's what I was thinking. And then I go to ICU. You don't really have a concept of time in that place.
Yeah.
Because I just think of the severity of my injuries. There are people in ICU who they don't drug that much, and
Yeah.
I was like off my rocker on on those meds, morphine and all this other stuff. And but the whole time I thought, even when I couldn't walk, I thought I'll just get better and learn how to walk. And when I went to rehab, they said there I'm probably not going to walk. Like they sort of rehabilitated me to live in a wheelchair, like go from wheelchair to bed, wheelchair to toilet, toilet to wheelchair, that sort of stuff. But I remember messaging my girlfriend at the time, and I'd walk laps up and down the rehab, and I did like 200 meters. And I said to her, if I can do like 200 meters today, then tomorrow I can just do like 300 meters, and then the next day 400, and then by the end of the week a kilometer, and then like that's honestly was my mindset the whole time. I never thought I wouldn't walk. I thought if I can do this, I can just exponentially improve. And I know they were trying to not wanting me to live in a wheelchair, but setting me up for that life, which is obviously what they had to do in their moment. But I the whole time had different plans. I was in a wheelchair. I used to tell some people and think to myself, one day I'm going to be paragliding again. And I'm sure everyone that I used to tell thought like, this oak's a retard, and B is never going to get to that point. Like you can't even walk. How are you going to do this?
Yeah.
And like 2 weeks ago in Cape Town, I went and I fetched my glider. And yeah, I'm going to be paragliding again. Just got to sort my license out. Can play golf. I can walk the golf course. So yeah, it's just like limits in your own mind, I think, sometimes.
And you had third and fourth degree burns. I mean, on 70% of your body.
Yeah.
I'm sure that a lot of people would tell you you're just lucky to survive.
Yes, yeah.
But it sounds like you almost had a different plan. You wanted to live again, not just survive.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no doubt I was super lucky. I'm always going to be the luckiest person in the room for having survived something like that. But yeah, I don't think it's about just surviving. Like, yes, I was lucky to survive. I'm not going to be grateful forever for just surviving. I want to live. What's the point of surviving something if I'm going to live in a wheelchair the whole time? Not if it came to that, then that's what it would have had to be. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being in a wheelchair,
Yes.
but the fact that I saw and thought I had the potential to walk again, to live a better, more fulfilling life for me, that's what I did. And then for 3 years afterwards, that became my life. It was just doing physio and just walking. And the same thing at my house. I remember during COVID. COVID was pretty cool for me. Sucked for everyone else. But I mean, I had like everyone at home.
Yeah.
People could always help me. There was someone there to help me walk with the walking frame or whatever. So COVID was actually like a blessing in disguise for me personally. But I used to, yeah, same thing, walk around my house, and I used to do laps as well. And just every day, I just do like an extra 2 laps. And after 2 months, you're doing an extra 60 laps. So the progress was just like this, just exponential. And then,
So you were in a medically induced coma for 6 weeks after the accident.
yeah, I think I don't actually know like all of those details, but I know I was in a coma, I think for about that long, 6 weeks. And then there were a couple of times during the stay where they did put me in a coma. Like I know, so like with skin grafts, I don't want to get too technical, but they basically like peel pieces of your skin and then stretch it and then stick it on your body. So like with my bum, it was quite difficult for them to graft that because you're lying on it or sitting on it in the hospital bed, and
Yeah.
then it didn't work. So like for that, they knocked me out again for like 2 weeks, put me on my stomach, and then did it. So I've got photos of that where my face was like like literally this big with all the blood just lying like this for 2 weeks in a coma.
Wow.
But I can't remember any of that.
And then when you were in hospital, you were put in a wheelchair. Was there ever the possibility, were you ever told of the possibility of being able to walk again?
I don't think they that like blatant with you. I can't ever remember them in ICU telling me that. But I think when I went to rehab, they did kind of tell my parents like, be prepared kind of thing. I don't think they ever say like there's no chance. But yeah, definitely the way that they prepared me was like I said, from wheelchair to toilet to wheelchair, that kind of stuff. It wasn't, but I think then I was maybe also so weak. But yeah, I don't think anyone ever expected me to to progress as much as I did. So I still go back. I do like a lot of talks at the rehab. I'll go visit them, etc. And they have like an awareness day. I'll go there and do a talk. And they always ask like, what advice do you have for the physios? And then not in a disrespectful way, but I always just tell them don't underestimate someone
Yeah.
because you're the professional, and you sometimes I might have said, oh, the professional is saying this, that's how I'm going to be. Luckily for me, I said the professional is wrong, and I'm going to walk. I might not run, but I'm going to be able to walk. And yeah, that was how I just approached it.
So you obviously had a very positive mindset and you wanted to get back up on your feet, excuse the pun. But I'm sure that you had a lot of dark, difficult moments. What was the most challenging part of your recovery process?
I'd say maybe having to go for all the operations. So I think in hospital, I maybe had about 35 operations. And then out of hospital was maybe about five. Things like I used to walk on my toes like this. And that just cut my Achilles and stretch it out again so that I could walk flat. So you do physio and you're working your ass off every day, and you can see like progress, and then you got to go for an op, and then it just goes, and now you're back to square one, and then do progress, get better, another op, boom, down. So that is difficult, and then you do get into maybe a bit of a negative space, and then I was very positive, but everyone has terrible days. I mean, there were some days I used to say to myself, "Oh, geez, I wish I just died. Like, I wish I honestly, this life is not for me. I'm in a wheelchair. Uh, just kill me. But the next day I'd wake up and I'd go do my physio, and it wasn't like a whole week or month or lifetime of negativity. It was just, okay, you've had a bad day, but tomorrow is going to be a good day.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
What made you decide then, once you had not recovered fully, but once you had started recovering, what made you decide to get get back into the skies, get back onto the horse again, and paraglide again?
It's actually quite a like interesting. So my mother and I have this argument all the time. So it's my passion. That honestly, I was lying in the ICU watching paragliding videos. Since I was this big, I used to that's all I wanted to do was paraglide. And when you have a passion like that, I just, that's all you want to do. You will make a plan. If I was
Yeah.
in a wheelchair, there are people who paraglide in wheelchairs. I would have made a plan to get back into the sky. So she'll say, my mother, horse riding is her passion, which granted, I'm sure in her younger days it was. But then I ask her, when last did you ride a horse? She hasn't been on a horse in 10 years. How, to me, that's, you like horses. It's not your unwavering passion. You know what I mean? I look up in the sky every day and look at the wind and look at the clouds and think of the flight that I did. It's just, it's like, yeah, an obsession.
So, do you ever feel like people view you differently now since your accident?
As opposed to before.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you do get like a certain level of respect when you have like survived something as extreme. Like even if people, if they don't necessarily like you, there's no like doubting that this oak did go through a lot and he did survive. But no, I wouldn't necessarily say so. I don't. Maybe it's the people that I'm associated with. Like people don't feel sorry for me. Um, People treat me the same way as they would other people. So no.
And I'm sure you wouldn't want people to, pity your situation or
No,
feel
no.
sorry for you.
No, I wouldn't. No, not a part of that. Like we just discussed before the episode, there are a couple of loopholes that maybe one likes to exploit. Like now and then, you drive through the parking and it's full, and then you just into the disabled parking. Like I never park in disabled parking, but if it's like really full, I've got the sticker in the back. I'll just throw it on and I think the other day at Home Affairs it was absolutely packed, and I was like, not a chance am I parking like a K away in the sun. I'm just going straight here, and then so yeah, I always joke about you got to make light of a like situation like this. So yeah, try to have a bit of fun with it sometimes.
So you obviously had a very positive mindset. Obviously not all the time. No one can. But you wanted to get better. But it's hard to get there. Some might even say impossible to get there on your own sometimes. What impact did the support of your friends and family have on your belief that you're going to get through this?
I think in terms of like,
Yeah.
you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? I was happy to drink. I was happy to do my physio. I was self-driven in that respect. But a lot of people forget, I mean, dude, I couldn't get anywhere. I literally couldn't do anything. When I came out, I couldn't even cut my own food. I couldn't even open a bottle. That's how weak I was. So obviously living with family, mom, brother, mom's boyfriend, etc. That was all like a massive help. Then during COVID, etc. But during that time, the biggest help was actually my ex-girlfriend. Yeah, she visited me like every day in ICU, even though we had only been together for like a month. So it was very new, and she stuck with me the whole time. And then that lady used to take me to anywhere I needed to go, physio, and then there, and then there, and then there, and then there. So definitely, yeah, having that support, in hospital as well. Mom used to visit me, dad used to visit me almost every day. So that keeps your spirits up, and yeah, you've got something to go home to. I can't imagine having this accident if I was like 40, and if you don't have like a family and you're gonna go home to like nothing. Yeah.
Was there ever a day where you thought, was there almost like a turning point in hospital where you thought, okay, I'm seeing progress, like things are going to get better?
Not really, no. Not in ICU. ICU is just so dim. There was a day I thought I was gonna die though. I thought that's what you were gonna that's what you were gonna ask. Uh I was like, it's weird. The whole time I was there, I never thought I was gonna die. Like I said, I honestly thought everything's gonna be fine. I'm gonna walk one day, all of that jazz. And the one day, I think with my ventilator, the nurse messed up the setting, and then it felt like I was breathing fire, and like my BP was like 190, and I was just like I honestly thought like I'm gonna die. I still
Yeah.
think I had a heart attack actually that day. They never like confirmed it, but yeah, I I thought, okay, shit, this whole walking thing might not might not really work out for me. It might be the end for me right here, but yeah, luckily pulled through. So yeah.
A lot of people in your situation, I feel like they would have given up or felt really sorry for themselves. What advice would you give to someone in their life who, no matter what they're going through, is at a stage where they kind of feel like, what's the point? They feel like giving up.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd say, I think finding like your passion, that's what really drove me personally. It's like how many things are out there that I want to do. I was never just sitting at home, sort of watching time go by. So find your thing, and then that like sort of think about it. Why do we live? I mean, why do you work? It's to do those things and to experience life, and that was for me. Like I wanted to do that. I hadn't done it enough, and that's what I did. And then setting small goals. I mean, for me, that was the one thing. Whatever it is in your life, you can't go from a wheelchair to running. The gap is so huge. I had to go from a wheelchair to a walking frame to two crutches to one crutch. That was my progress. And then when you set small goals and you can just see like just that little bit of improvement, that's going to also drive you.
Yes.
If you run a business, you can't start it and go make $1 billion a year. But if you start it and slowly you see your profits increasing, more client, like that's, yeah, you got to break it down really. And yeah.
I definitely agree with that. I think there's definitely importance in valuing the small gains, because if you look at the mountain ahead of you,
Yeah.
it can be so overwhelming that you don't
Yes.
know the next
Yeah.
you don't know the next step, you don't know how the hell you're going to get to that point.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you just focus on a small win, it's almost like a little bit of a dopamine hit.
Yeah. 100%. And then you feel proud of yourself, and then it makes you want to go and do more. You know what I mean? And then, yeah. What's it like? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. Because if you think of 1,000 miles, you're gonna get overwhelmed. Yeah.
So
It sounds simple, but seriously, I think people think maybe it's too simple, and it's like stupidly simple, and then they don't do it.
yes.
When you actually implement it, it is really, really effective. Well, it was for me. So
I do that so many times in my life. I mean, I think of like LinkedIn. I've been meaning to update my LinkedIn profile for so many years now. And instead of just, starting with one thing, get a better
intro,
picture,
yeah.
get a better like cover thing going, I look at the whole task and I go,
This is too much.
This is too
Yeah.
overwhelming. Like I put in my password, whatever. I see my profile. Like, it's awful. It's like a picture of me back in the day, like holding my certificate. You can't even see like
Anything.
what's on it. It says like open to work, like eager for any opportunity, like I don't need to get paid. And
Outdated qualifications.
and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because that's my next goal. So when this episode comes out, people won't be able to look back and see my awful profile, hopefully, because I want to set the intention.
At least hopefully a new photo.
Yeah,
Just a new photo and maybe an introduction or something.
that's my next
Yeah.
small goal. But anyway, so you always had like a little bit of a passion for golf, it sounded. I mean, I remember in school you were just a natural sportsman. We played a little bit of cricket together. We
Yeah.
weren't always in the same team, but we knew of each other. And I just know you to be like quite a competitive, good sportsman. After what had happened to you getting back into golf, how did you adapt your game?
So I think it's pretty simple why I got into golf, because it was like the only thing that I could do.
Yeah,
I mean, I used to play squash. So in school, I mean, you would know I played tennis, cricket, bit of soccer, whatever there was I could play. And then in high school, I went to squash. So I played cricket. That's why I went to Cairns actually, was for cricket. But I just like after one term of cricket, I don't know what happened. I think 50 overs was just too long. I was like, no. And then also the paragliding started kicking in. It's like, I don't want to spend my Saturday on a field. I want to spend my Saturday under a cloud.
yeah,
So then I started to squash. So I played first team from grade 9 to matric, and then got colours for that. So that was sort of my sport, and I wasn't ever like going to be a pro or anything. I just liked it. It was social, quick, and like fitness. I love the running.
yeah,
And then after the accident, I couldn't do anything. I can't really run now. I can move a lot better now, but golf was like the sport that I had played before. Never really seriously, but we'd go on holiday. I'd maybe play a couple of games for school, and then I was like, okay, I am a competitive person, so I need to do something where I can compete, whether it's golf or whether it's flipping chess or something. I need to like put myself in that. So yeah, as soon as I could sort of stand, I mean, I actually used to hit a few balls out of a wheelchair, but when I could stand, like try to hit a couple balls, and it's maybe like a good story, like testament to the whole bigger picture. But I remember going to Huddle Park with my brother. So I was standing and I swear I shanked like the first 20 golf balls, dude, that I hit like half a bucket. I just, not even like hit it straight and chunk it or thin it. I was just straight shanking like 20 balls in a row. And then I thought maybe like, okay, maybe this is not for me. Maybe this is just too much. And then, yeah, just like worked on it again, changed a couple of things. And then about a couple of days later, we went to Sabi, and I played every day. Played 18 holes. I think my first round I shot 92, and then I slowly got better. My best round by the end of the week was like 84.
wow,
Yeah. So, like, and then that just sort of became like my thing, because I can't play squash anymore. Can play paddle. I enjoy paddle. Have you played?
yeah.
Yeah.
I love paddle.
Yeah, paddle's cool. I can't run. If I got a partner, they gotta run.
Make sure he's quick.
Yeah, like quick, and he can run, and then I just stand there and just fucking whack the ball. But yeah, golf for me is probably the best. Like, there's not really any fitness involved. Yeah, I've got my problems, if you can call it that. I don't hit the ball as far anymore, but I hit it straighter. So I've had to like maybe adapt to having like a better short game. I can't really just smash it and overpower the golf course. But yeah, I love it. And I love the competing, play disabled golf, compete against guys similar-ish. We've all got problems, so that sort of levels the playing field maybe a little bit. But even like we were discussing before, playing scratch league, rocking up on a Sunday, the Oaks look at me like,
I think it's unbelievable that you are able to play to a scratch handicap. I mean, if people saw the photos and the videos and the place that you were in, and I mean,
Yeah.
playing golf from a wheelchair to getting to a scratch handicap in the matter of a few years, I think that's absolutely wild.
Yeah. Thanks. Oh, it's nice. I like it. It's cool.
And now you mentioned the SADGA, the South African Disabled Golf Association, and you play in a few of their tournaments, and I see that you also do a little bit of coaching for them.
Yeah.
Um, why why did you decide to give back and get involved in coaching?
Well, I think it was sort of just an opportunity that presented itself, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
It is very rewarding though. When I started it, I thought, okay, let's just do it. Like it's a job, a bit of extra cash. It's nice. It's flexible. But when I started doing it, it really did surprise me, and I didn't really know that like part of me existed. Um, but I really enjoy it. I mean, I do the schools and then I do the coaching. So the schools, I'll go to a disabled school and then we just do like therapeutic golf. So none of those kids are ever going to be able to play golf properly, but we've got like a set of plastic clubs. We set up a little game and they hit tennis balls, and like seeing how happy they are, and after like a good shot, like yeah, they might hit five bad shots, but you would know just like that one good shot. And I promise you, the most competitive people are disabled people by a mile. I'll set up a game like you guys versus you guys, and it's absolute carnage to the death, hitting tennis balls and just playing, and like it's so fun and so nice to be able to like just improve their day a little bit. Yeah.
Why do you think that is, that competitiveness?
I don't know. I think a lot of disabled people maybe feel like they have something to prove. I haven't really given it much thought, but I do think it's definitely there. Yeah, people. Yeah, maybe they've got a thing in their brain that they're not good enough, and they want to show people that they're good enough. Yeah.
And what role did golf have in your ability to improve not only physically but mentally?
I think mostly the people that I've met through that. So, I mean, that like opened a world of opportunities for me playing for disabled golf and associating with people at where I play golf at Joburg Country Club. The people I've met, the things that I've learned, how it's like even affected now like my career path, having spoken to guys that are accountants and CFOs and stuff. That's definitely helped a lot with that. And yeah, at the end of the day, I just try and go and have fun. And it is like, even if I'm having a bad round, I can still think of where I was and like how blessed and lucky I am to be able to play now. Yeah.
Was there ever something, it's quite a hard question, but did you ever take something for granted that now you appreciate?
Oh, dude, 100%. I took like my whole life for granted. I mean, I can't speak for you, but I mean, every time I'd go play squash or go paraglide or just do the simplest task. I mean, no one, I don't think anyone takes everything, like they always have, no one goes to the bathroom and thinks, oh, I'm really lucky to be able to sit here. Or no one goes and really plays a game of squash and thinks, geez, I'm so lucky to be able to do this. You just take it for granted, and off you go, and you get in your car and you drive there and you go whatever. And then when you get to a space that I was in, it was like you realize how how fortunate you were to be able to just walk and just be healthy. For me now, that thing, money can't buy health, or whatever, you can't put a price on health, whatever, that is so true. Until you get into my position, uh, just being able to breathe nicely, being able to walk, not getting sick. Okay, I don't really get sick, but you get my point. It's yeah, everyone. I think everyone takes stuff for granted.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think can't talk for everyone, but a lot of people our age, I know for myself, you're thinking about your career, you want to make a bit more money, maybe climb the corporate ladder.
yeah,
Like you just get so used to each day just being like something that's guaranteed.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's not enough is like never enough. Like you say, you've always like. I agree with that. You've got to get better. It's good to strive for improvement, but how often do you hear people? It's always what they don't have, what they want to get, where they want to be, not where I am now, what I have now, and that they're actually grateful and satisfied with their life now. It's always the opposite, what they don't have, where they want to be, like looking in the future
Mm.
as opposed to being in the moment
Like looking
now.
from a place of lack
Yeah,
instead of just
100.
being grateful for things that are right in front of you that you don't even
Yeah, you just
see.
take for granted, like, yeah, 100%.
And I mean, I think we all get caught in that sometimes. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, even us doing this episode now, it's like it's such a rare occasion. We'll never get this opportunity
yeah,
again. But sometimes you just look at a day as another day, just like any day, and it takes something like a life changing event to change
yeah.
that perspective
I mean,
around.
I myself still take things a lot of. I think when it was really bad, I didn't. But now that I've gotten a lot better, I still take things for granted, like playing golf sometimes. I mean, then we go play it. We're gonna go play at CCJ. I mean, it's like one of the top courses, and just rock up there. Oh shit, another day playing golf. Fuck. Like it's crazy, but you gotta maybe try to bring yourself out of that and just look at it like a way and actually realize how lucky we are. Yeah.
What's the best thing that's ever happened to you?
The best thing, gee whiz, I don't know. I don't know. Probably, I can't think of a specific thing, but maybe the happiest I ever was when I did my first 300-kilometer paragliding flight. Yeah. I remember like you fly with an instrument, so it tells you everything, and as it like, I remember I was like 290 k's away, but I had like 2,000 meters, so I knew I was gonna be able to do it, and then I was like flipping overjoyed, like yeah, one of like the things that we had set out to do, and then you achieve it, and yeah.
What does the next chapter in Kelvin van Baalen's story look like?
So I've got like 6 months left of my degree. So a lot of people don't know this. I was studying before, but I was kind of just doing it to keep my mom happy, if I'm being honest. And then I wanted to go do paragliding in Cape Town. So they fly tourists of Signal Hill. I wanted to do that, and then in our winter go overseas. So go to France, Turkey, Italy, wherever you can do paragliding, fly tourists there. So that was my plan. Obviously that all went up in a ball of flames, but and then so now I'm studying finance, so I thought, okay, I better do something. Finance has always intrigued me. If I had to study something, it would definitely be that. And so I've got 6 months left of that, and then I'm going to do my CFA. So that will take me maybe 9 months or a year, depending on how I want to do it. And then then I think for me it's starting to try and climb the corporate ladder at 29 years old or 30 years old. So definitely a little bit behind. And then continue with the golf. Golf, maybe if some folks won't like what I'm about to say, but golf has never really been my passion. I love it, but like I said, paragliding is my it's what drives me and everything. So I've got my glider now. I've got a car. I couldn't drive for a while, so I got a car about 9 months ago. Got my glider, got my car, and I'm gonna continue to go that route. And yeah,
Well, that's amazing, and I've really enjoyed this episode. They always go so quickly.
Gee, is it an hour already?
But Carl, I'd just like to thank you for sitting down and having this discussion today, sharing your story, and I'm sure that you're gonna inspire so many people. Yeah, it's a privilege to sit down and have this conversation with you.
Okay. And then just for the little bit of fun, so at the end of the episode, because we're playing golf today, we've got to put the scores.
Okay.
Okay. So you got to put Mike, whatever you shot, Kelvin, and whatever I shot. Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Deal. Let's go.